Hello, I'm Fred Hawk, and today I'm back with the Pauper Lab, playing Mono Blue Tron. And since Pauper Lab is about rules and not competitive decks necessarily, and I decided to play Mono Blue Tron instead of course, the Monster Tron and Flicker Tron, Four Color Tron, etc. And this deck is very fun. I like this deck so much because it remembers me the modern format Mono Tron that he has a lot of bombs that you play when you have Tron and he's just very strong. This is not that different because we are playing Pauper, but we have a lot of bombs. The finisher in Capsize is so much fun capsizing people. We have the Capsize on Mystic and also the Mood Drifters as the finishers. We have some counters in form of false summoning. You should be playing Glorious Gale. I'm just playing false summoning because I love this art. Look, this art is just so fun. And impulses to get back the counter spells. I was thinking about like the negate also and the access spells. I think you should be playing 4 power sinks, okay? Or at least 3 power sinks and no condensans. I think condensans is not very good, but this is Scry sometimes is nice. Scry 2 is kind of strong sometimes. Also, we have Unwind to ramp us. You just untap 3 lands. You just tap 3 Tron lands that generates a lot of mana and spend 3 of those mana, and then just untap those lands to ramp a lot of you can counter a spell with this negate. Essentially, it's essentially a negate with that untap 3 lands and is 3 mana. And also play a draw spell or a big power sink or condensate. He also plays exclude because you wanna counter a lot of creatures. The deck plays no removal, so it's kind of bad against a lot of creatures. Then exclude is very strong. You just it just replace itself, so it's the counter a creature draw a card and you just up a card is very strong. Flicker is very nice with the mnemonic wall. Capsize we just talked about. Those one drops are really fine because you need spiritual maps if you're playing Tron. But Candy Tray is also kind of strong. I don't know if this deck needs Candy Tray. I don't know. Maybe you should be playing Barrels of Blasting Jelly because it's Prophetic Prism that doesn't draw a card, but filters the mana that you need for blue. And sometimes you need a lot of blue to try like play Alarm Revealed and try to capsize your opponent 2 times a turn. It's a You need almost almost 20 mana, but this deck can generate a lot of mana because it goes to the late game very easy. So I think we should be playing Barrel of Blasting Jelly because you need a lot of blue sometimes, and also it is a removal. But Candy Trail can gain life against the aggressive decks. The Scry 2 is nice to try to find out Tron pieces. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Also, Campfire to help uh, gain a bunch of life, and also helping us not decking ourselves because this deck draw a lot of cards and you might just deck yourself. The Campfire just fix that problem. This is the main deck. It's a pretty fun one. We have a lot of draws and truths and a lot of reveals. The Mudrift that I just talked about. The sideboard is kind of stuck besides the fadeaways, in my opinion, are just a different card here because you need something to do something to do with the creatures, and this enters against the mono white Winnie, red rally, and also elves. But elves is just a quite impossible matchup, as is mono green fact. But essentially, you need to bring this against the go wide decks. Radical Trojanus is kind of bad with the Capsize, Ghostly Flicker, and Mnemonic Wall. Essentially, more Capsize and Ghostly Flicker being each one of those one-offs in the deck. Because if you manage to lose a Capsize in a grave, and you have to relic your opponent to not lose the game or anything like that. You just lose a Capsize, you have only one, you're never gonna see it again. And also the Ghostly Flicker. So this is kind of bad. Mnemonic Wall, once he dies, you're never gonna be getting the wall back. So it might as well nice be playing 2 Mnemonic Walls. Mnemonic also capsize into Ghost Flicker. I don't know what I would take out to do that. To go up a copy of each of those cards, but they are strong. But Relic is really nice. You just answer well like the Monoblow Terrors and the Spies and the Graveyard decks, the Snackers and such. The Blast for the red matchups, and also there are also the enchantments, there are the artifacts, the affinity, and that kind of stuff. So this is the deck. It's pretty fun. It's not a competitive deck, but I had so much fun playing this deck, this list. I'm gonna be linking this exactly list from the MTG Goldfish, and the link is gonna be in the description and in the pinned comment in the comment section. So if you like my channel, if you like my channel and my videos, just subscribe to the channel, please, and leave a like, a comment, a suggestion about decks you wanna see in the channel, in the videos. And now let's go to the gameplay. So the first match, it's we have a Tron in hand. It's against I remember this is against a ORZHOV blade. Yeah, black and white blade. You're gonna opponent plays a Lambas. We have Tron in hand. This is very strong. And I didn't need this Tron fast. As you may see, I just need to counter the refurbished familiar, the creatures, of the you know. Now we have to deal with this Sky Fisher, but this deck can uh, gain a bunch of life, just buy a lot of time. So this Sky Fisher attacking us. If your opponent tries to Rokusaki, would be bad for us here. The opponent's gonna would start to draw a lot of cards. So you might have to consider bounce back this Sky Fisher with the repeal, but we just unwind the Lambas and now we're gonna crack no, I just did this. I think you should have cracked the Candy Trail. But now you have Tron and thing is easy. The life is easy. And I think that those decks, those mid-range decks are having they have a hard time playing against all of those mana that Tron decks have. So you're gonna impulse it, you need to let this resolve, and it's okay, it's fine, it's not a problem. You're going to sack the Candy Trail, get a bunch of life back. Gonna play. No, I think. Oh, I thought we would play the Murmuring Mystic with just Lord and Reveal drawing a lot of cards. We can gain 2 life a turn, it's not a problem. We also have this Candy Trail, which is really fine. So I don't care about taking this damage here. But the opponent did something that is very strong. A 5/5, but you have this power sink. Opponent cannot do anything about, so you just counter that. Because sneak you can counter. Ninjutsu you cannot. So sneak is kind of a too fair ability. We're going to play the Mo Drifter. I don't know why I don't play. I just don't play did not play the Murmuring Mystic because they don't have a protection. Now we have Ghostly Flicker. It's fine because it can flicker the Murmuring Mystic and the Prophetic Prism. But we're gonna do the flicker now. I don't know why I did this. I just need to take this 2 damage and gain the 2 life back. But my opponent is Pentacast down here, which is fine. And we have mana for the Mystic and the Capsize now. I'm gonna discard this island. I think it's a miss. No, we need this island on the battlefield. Opponent did not get back this Refurbished Familiar, which is a mistake in my opinion, but it's okay. You're going to Memorial Mystic, I'm gonna pass. Because if my opponent tries to Tiffin Blade, we just can capsize one of our opponent's creatures or even one of our opponent's lands. Because we can sacrifice the token in response. I'm gonna take. Let's see what my opponent has. We are taking like only 2 because we're gonna gain 2 life with the campfire. So it's fine. We're gonna gain life. We're gonna bounce something. I think we're gonna bounce the planes here. I think it is. Because opponent, I'm bouncing what? I'm bouncing the Sky Fisher. I don't know why I did that. I think this is a mistake because I don't want my opponent just getting back those refurbished and playing refurbished again and trying to and just end up stripping our hand. I don't know why I did that. I should have capsized the planes. Oh, also, never capsize a artifact land if your opponent has 2 mana out, 2 mana open, because your opponent might sacrifice the land you're targeting the land you are targeting. The capsize, your opponent just sacrifice that, take out the capsize target, and just your capsize just do not resolve. You go to the graveyard, so you're not buybacking that. I just discarded the Moon Drifter. That was the I discarded no the Tron land. It's fine because I have a lot of mana. You don't need this Tron land. Now we're gonna capsize the tap land. I think it was a mistake just capsizing that Coil Sky Fisher. I don't know why I did that. We're gonna capsize. No, we're gonna Blurring Reveal. Having a capsize buyback, we have the island, a bunch of mana. This Candy Trail gain a bunch of life. We have the Mumuri Mystic just taking over the game right now. Also summoning very strong against another refurb, another potentially refurb. And we have 8 mana. We can false summoning and capsizing. We don't gain life, but we have 25 life. It's not a problem. Opponent has a lot of cool tokens, which is this duress is really strong. But we're going to capsize our opponent's playing. Opponent's was about to pay 2 and sacrifice the artifact land, in my opinion. But he realized that we are not targeting the artifact lands but the planes. So I think he just got back. But I don't know, maybe he doesn't have the Eviscerator's Insight in hand. Maybe he just was trying to play the Lembas, but too fast. We gain a bunch of life with this campfire now. We can draw a lot of cards. Play Mood Drifter also. Yeah, we need to find the mnemonic wall because then we're gonna get back our capsize to win the game. We have a lot of draw effects, like I said on the deck tech. This deck draws a lot of cards, and we have campfire. We have 2 campfires. To be honest, we are not worried about our being milled. Just deck yourselves. That's not a concern. Gonna draw a lot of cards. We did not find a mnemonic wall. Now we find. I think one's gonna concede here. Yeah, the opponent just concedes because we got back the capsize and we have 7 blue mana. You know, it's a lot of blue mana we need. We can capsize 3 times because we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 16. We have 20 mana. Capsizing 3 times. I would start to capsize my opponent's lands. A lot of the lands, and the opponent would have couldn't do nothing because they have the condensate to counter anything. So yeah, this was the game 1. Let's go to the game 2. Okay, sideboard wise for the game 2, we just took out the repeals, 1 candy trail, and 1 campfire, and we put in 4 annuls. So this was the sideboard for the game 2, and I think this hand is fine because we have Tron piece, we have a expedition map. It is a fine hand. We just need to see how my opponent's gonna play. Our refurb on turn 2 is really bad. We lost a campfire. We just have 2 campfires now. We have only 1 in our deck, which might be a problem. And the opponent's playing Forest Skyfish. Opponent just curving out really strong here. We have Tron basically, but we need more draw card advantage. Not draw, raw card advantage, like drawing 3 cards because finding more cards because those refurbs are stripping our hand pretty hard. When it has only 3 cards in hand, but he are pressuring us, we can gain a bunch of life. Not a bunch, but 3 life with this candy trick can buy us a lot of time. We have Tron, so we have this Flicker now. We're gonna draw 2 cards with the flicker, I suppose. And you have essentially exactly flicker and candy trail. So opponent. Okay, opponent's gonna crack the clue now. It's gonna be tapped out, so we're gonna just go to the flicker. Drawing 2 cards. Okay, not very good cards because opponent has a big board and we have a lot of counters in hand now. We have 2 mystics, but mystics with the right spells is kinda good. Opponent just exile our graveyard, so yeah, now it's very nice because you have this impulse to put 2 birds on the battlefield. One is gonna kill one of those. Okay, gonna just kill one of those. We have nothing to do. Gonna get a mnemonic wall to get back this impulse, I believe, because we need proactive spells. We have only two counters, and if my opponent just keep attacking and not playing creatures, we cannot counter anything our opponent plays. This one we can. Gonna fall summoning. Okay, gonna go to life. Gonna skip finding creatures. Mortuary Mine, getting back the Orokusaki. I don't know, man. This is kind of crazy because you can see that this deck can hold mid-range decks pretty well because we draw a lot of cards. At this point, I am just thinking about my opponent not drawing removal because otherwise we would lost the game here. But we have nothing that much to do. We could have played this turn differently, but I don't know. It's fine. One has 5 creatures to attack. We have 5 blockers, which is we're gonna destroy the trade with the refurbished familiar, which is very good. Now we don't have to worry about the refurbished familiar stripping our hand every time our opponent find a extra copy of Skyfisher or the Lynch Hawk. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm thinking about Lording Revealed here, I believe. I'm just stepping out wrongly that, okay, I'm gonna make a token, draw 3 cards. Spectrum map's fine, but we need more blue. I think we need more blue to this capsize at some point. So I'm gonna play the island. I have a Mood Drifter, but I don't have much to do here. I'm gonna capsize for a Skyfisher, I believe. I don't know why I did this. Okay, we have 1 mana left. And okay, we just double block there. We start to just diminishing our opponent's board. So I'm gonna just get back the Trap Inspector and you know replaying and um, having more clues to draw cards. That's fine. We are passing. We have the capsize. We have the condensand open. Opponent is Lembas. We're gonna annul because this is strong. Lembas is strong because he can bounce back and keep scrying and drawing cards. We're gonna another once more, not once more, but we're gonna bounce back to the Skyfisher model. We bounce 2 Skyfishers, yeah. We kill one, which is really strong, but opponents keeping those attacks that I think are, if you know the capsize is alive and I gonna be making some birds out of it with the murmuring mystic, you just do not attack like that. I think you're just losing creatures. Now I made a mistake. This was a pretty bad mistake. I just trying to sorcery on my turn, capsizing my opponent, just to trying to attack because I was low on time. I was 8 minutes on 8 minutes on time. But this was a mistake. You just don't do this shit. You just keep doing what I was doing and just play Mood Drifter. I would play a Mood Drifter here, draw 2 cards, but now our opponent just draw refurb. Now we're gonna lose almost all of our hand here. Our hand's gonna be really stripped. My opponent just got lucky because I made a mistake on the worst turn, on the in the worst turn possible is the turn that my opponent just draws a refurb. Just pretty lucky for our opponent. Now we just lost everything. Now we stand a Mo Drifter. That was lucky, I guess. Maybe, yeah, a lot of mana here. A lot of mana. Draw two cards. I think we're gonna draw another card that draw two, three cards. We don't need those lands. We need answers. Now we have a negate, so opponent not gonna remove this Murmuring Mystic. Not soon, at least. Okay, opponent's attacking everybody. This is a really bad attack. I think this is a bad attack. But anyway, opponent's my opponent. Is doing this. I'm gonna block. I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna chump a bit. That's fine. Opponent's gonna kill a Drifter, which is fine for me. With me, opponent's gonna pay 6 to play that guy. That 6 mana 5/5 that gains 3 life and then enters and has sneak. That ninja, yeah, this ninja. It's a fine card. I don't care about my opponent gaining life here. He can gain a bunch of life, but that I don't care. I'm gonna spiritual map, find a tower. We need a lot of mana. Then just gonna Warren reveal, trying to find more answers. Then we have those answers. I discard the island. I don't know why I discarded that island. Maybe we have 6 blue mana, but I think 7 it's better than 6. And we have a lot of mana, 9, 6, 15, 18. We have 18 mana. Okay, capsize that guy, and now I'm gonna make my opponent surrender, I guess, because you're gonna play this guy. I'm gonna always think just, and at this point, opponent's playing this, and I'm gonna power sync my opponents. Just my opponent's gonna be tapped out, and we're gonna have, you know, we're gonna have 3 capsizes on my turn to go for the lands, or just do this. Opponent stepped out, and in my opponent next turn, I can capsizing 3 lands. Those tap lands, like the bearings and the Bajuka Boggle, the bounce land and the 2 tap lands, like life lands. Because the mortuary mine just get back creatures and the Bajuka Bog just get our graveyard. So was a strong turn to just a strong turn, because you just tap your opponent down and tap out your opponent, sorry, and opponent cannot attack here because you would lose creatures. You will lose the Aqua Sky Fisher. You're gonna chump the other one. So this was a nice game, a nice match, and we just crawl back from 2 life. We are still at 5 life because we did not found our single copy of Campfire that we have left, because we need to discard that Campfire in the early game. To that reign of refurbished familiar being replayed a lot of times, 3 or 4 times, I guess. But as I said, the deck can draw a lot of cards. So let's go to the next match. Okay, the second match, it's against this opponent that is playing Boros Tribe, or Boros Eidolons, and we have a pretty slow start here. We have 2 Tron pieces, but we have your opponent's gonna draw a lot of cards because your opponent just is knackered on the second turn. Is not second, the third turn. Turn 3's Necklace is also kind of strong. Now we have Tron, but and I don't care about this Snacker attacking me. At some point I can repeal it back, but this repeal, I might, in this MAGMAKIN is kind of annoying. This is the variant that is not playing the Tribe combo. It's playing the MAGMAKIN combo. Not combo, but finisher, as a finisher. I don't know if I like the MAGMAKIN. but I think I rather have the tribe combo in this deck. But it's just a preference. I just took the damage because I want to see what my opponent does for the rest of the turn. Opponent's gonna trying to find more cards. I gonna be taking some damage for the Magmakin, which is fine. Now we're gonna bounce back the Magmakin because I don't want to take more damage for this guy. And it's fine because now we're going to reveal. I'm going to play the Mystic. Yeah, this is really nice because now we can flicker the Mystic and protect it. So we're gonna exclude this guy, of course. We're going to exclude. Opponent's gonna attack here. I don't know. We trade with the token with for the snacker. And opponent just draw 2 cards this turn already, so he's not gonna attack. We have a lot of mana. We are short on blue mana, which is kinda bad. But we have a counter spell. We have Capsize, we have Mood Drifters, we have a lot of draws. I mean, we're gonna draw a lot of cards here. I think I'm gonna unwind, so we tapped wrongly here. Okay, we tapped wrongly. We should have tapped also, we should have tapped, no, I think I wanna untap the blue mana. It's correct. It's correct. I wanna tap the blue mana because I wanna untap the blue mana. You know, I think I'm not gonna tap a 4th land to untap 3 Tron lands. You know, I wanna untap the remote island because I wanna have 1 more blue. So I'm gonna draw here, trying to find a counter, anything, but I don't. And now I have the protection for the Murmuring Mystic with my Ghostly Flicker. I have a lot of mana, but we need to find more blue mana. A Prophetic Prism here would be nice. Conan Sand is also a really strong card because they have a lot of mana and we can counter with only 1 blue mana. We are attacking. I made a mistake last turn. I should have attacked with the Murmuring Mystic, but I don't because opponent just jumps with the Sneaky Snacker. If I Campfire now, we're not gonna lose this game, I think, anymore because you know we're gonna gain a bunch of life. If opponent did not find the Magmakin that we're gonna counter with this counter sand, if opponent's not gonna win this game. And I don't care about how much life our opponent makes because we're gonna have a lot of bird tokens attacking our opponent. So we are chilling pretty good here. And okay, we have only oh no, you have 3 blue mana now. It's fine. You know, you're not attacking with the Mood Drifter, of course, because you don't want to lose the Mood Drifter to the Snacker. Why opponent has Bitter Reunion in this deck? He wants to give haste something, maybe a tribe. MAGMAKIN doesn't need the. He's gonna kill my guy. No, I'm gonna Ghost Flicker that and the Mood Drifter. That's really bad for our opponent. This all of those bird tokens are going to to win the game eventually, so we don't need to be rushing. So I protected the second mission even so. But then opponent just surrenders, and my opponent just quit all the game, all the match. They just quit the entire match. I don't like when they do this, but this was a nice uh, match because a nice game at least because this is like 9 turns of a game that is against a deck that is quite competitive because the Boros Magmakin or Boros Eidolons this is a competitive deck. This is a strong deck, and they are like a mid-range deck, mid-range combo deck. It's kind of weak to us to our deck, and it's fine to see a brew deck, a fun deck, winning a meta deck or like a kinda strong meta deck, not tier 1, but you know, a meta deck that is strong. So let's go to the next match. One more match, and this is a bad hand. We are mulligan. We have 2 Tron pieces with the expedition map. We are playing a green deck, so against a green deck. And it is infect. So this is the worst matchup for us because we don't have a. You might die here, right? No, we're not dying. Campfire does nothing. Candy Trail does nothing. This is pretty bad. I think we just lost. We just concedes. We just concede. It's a pretty bad matchup because we don't have anything to deal with those creatures on the early game, and we essentially have 10 life because it is an infect. So this was the game 1. Let's see if we can do better in the game 2. Sideboard for the game 2. We took out all the campfires because they do nothing. We took out one Candy Trail because we only have 4 annuls on the sideboard. I didn't bring the fade away because opponent just can just sacrifice a permanent. If he had only one creature, he can sacrifice a Rancor or a land, so it's pretty bad against Infect. But life is really bad. So we need a null because it can counter the Equal Claw Mirror, the Rancor, and the Seal of Strange. Seal of Strange. So the seal is strong because opponent might play on turn 1. We don't have a null on our opening hand, but it's fine. The opponent has the Glistening Elf, which is strong. Turn 1, pretty strong. You can repeal it. You're gonna try to repeal it now, of course. When it just vines, which is really bad. We don't have anything to do here, which is pretty bad. But opponent has 4 cards in hand, and now the escape tunnel really bad because even if it find okay, gonna take 3, gonna 8 poison. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. Maybe it's all lands. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. If it is, it's quite bad. Now, if my opponent has no, opponent just corrects it, which is kind of crazy. Opponent is flooded. I'm gonna play vines. I just let the vines go. In the attack step, I'm gonna play the truths. Unfathomable truths. Make a blocker. Just gonna block. Sacrifice, but unfortunately, I had to. I can't counter this Muldrift, this elf with our false summoning because you're gonna lose the mana on the combat step. That's fine, Muldrifter. We're going to another Muldrifter and play a spiritual map with the extra mana. Now we have 2 jump blockers. If we want to find the Rancor and the pump spell, we're gonna lose the game, but it is what it is. This is the worst matchup. We are lucky to be on turn 6 and alive, even with 2 life points left. Okay, this is good. We have a counter for a creature, a counter for a. This is bad because now we don't have anything to block. Opponent's just gonna pump his creature. We need to counter with the power sink. But if opponent has 2 pump spells, we die. So the end we find nothing. We find just nothing. You can't counter 2 pump spells. So let's see what my opponent does. We're just gonna attack. We take. Opponent has a pump spell. We just counter that pump spell, of course, and make your opponent just tap everything. But remember, if your opponent can tap in response and use the mana to cast an instant spell, they could. If your opponent can, they should. And this is what happens now because if your opponent has another pump spell, he pay, just tap out the forest, add the green manas, and just spend the green mana to cast the pump spell on the elf, and we lose the game. But opponent does not have. So okay, we tap the opponent out. Unless my opponent has a pump spell in hand and just don't know about the rules of the power sync. Power sync doesn't have a split second. Your opponent might just answer the power sync just using the mana at instant speed. So we're going to now it would be nice to have capsizes, but we don't have anything to counter more pump spells if our opponent finds more escape tunnels. We can counter a Rancor with the Annul. Of course, we're gonna counter only Rancor with the Annul, but the equal color mirrors that we can target with the Annul, we're gonna be countering with the Scud. An opponent just concedes, I don't know why. Maybe he just flooded. We have two lands in hand right now. And we have these two more drifters. We don't have much going on. We could draw three cards with the truths, and maybe we should be fine after that. But I would not consider that point. I would wait a little bit more. So let's go to the game tree. So the game tree is the same sideboard. Nothing changed. Opponent has a Seal of Strength on turn one, which is strong. But we have opponent has this Blight Member. We are short on mana. We need to find mana. Opponent just did that. I don't know why. We're gonna counter the Equal Call Mirror. We need to find lands. We're gonna Lorem review for the island. We are very far away of finding Tron, but it's fine. Not fine. This is really bad because my opponent is gonna be at 3 mana now, and we can only counter unless our opponent pays 1, which is really bad. And now we are 5 poison. You cannot counter this guy. It's pretty bad. We have a Tron piece. We're gonna play a spiritual map. Now we can counter unless my opponent pays 2, which is a little bit better, but still not bad, not good. Not at this point because we are taking 2 more poison at least. Opponent is gonna just do 2 damage to infect, rather. Gonna have another Tron piece. You're gonna draw uh, another power plant, which is bad. Just gonna play the Mold Drifter because I could at this point here. Maybe it is a mistake. Maybe I just need to sit and take 2 more damage and trying to counter a pump spell. Maybe that's correct because now here my opponent just needs a pump spell to pump the creature that is going through my life through my life, that's going unblocked. So maybe it was a mistake. At this point, my opponent having 4 cards in hand. He's gonna be having a spell, of course. So my opponent he did, and we lost. This is the worst matchup for any Tron deck. But this was this match. So let's go to the one. I think it's gonna be the final match. The last match. We are on the play. We keep this hand because it's a good hand, and it's against a Tron deck. It's a mirror, but of course this is a Monster Tron or a Pinger Tron because it's not a mono blue Tron. I'm pretty sure it's not a mono blue Tron. It's not that common. Okay, opponent having Tron. It's strong, but we have Power Sync to counter this 7 mana creature if it is Monster Tron. Okay, Lembas is fine. My opponent having 5 mana now. It's kinda crazy. So this is the Pinger Tron that top 8 made top 8, I think, or top 16. I don't know. I don't remember. Top 4, I guess. I don't know. On the Pauper the last Pauper. I think it was. But opponent might have trouble with the colored mana because I just countered the Prophetic Prism. But Prism is a strong card for their deck because they are all, now they are only colorless. They don't have mana. They just cycle the black mana they had. I don't know why. I don't care about anything what my opponent is doing now. I just caring about my opponent having colors or a creature to kill me with the finisher. With a loop like a mnemonic wall, a pinger creature. Those are the only things that bothers me. Bojukamog is annoying, but nothing that I cannot deal with. Okay, draw a bunch of cards. We have a lot of mana. We need more blue mana, I guess. Yeah, this is really strong. We have a lot of draws. We have a bunch. Opponent is having more mana than us because my opponent doesn't care that much about the colored mana as we are. They just have the Battles of Blasting Jelly. That's this is the finisher. I cannot have this creature resolve. I cannot let this creature resolve. Opponent has a reason because I just gonna counter this. Oh no, I just mistake here. Okay, this is a mistake because I thought my opponent have. I think I have more mana, but I don't have that much mana. I have for X4, and my opponent has 5 mana to pay. So this was a misplay. I misplay by miscounting my mana. Not only my mana, but my opponent's mana too. But I have a repeal to deal with this token. Not gonna let my opponent just have all those damage coming up, coming at us. But so, and I can counter a Ghostly Flicker here, but I need to. I don't know how I gonna deal with this guy on the table. I'm gonna counter this Ghost Flicker, of course. I'm tapping out a lot of Tron lands because I have the Prophetic Prism in place, so it doesn't matter. Okay, another Ghost Flicker. Now I do not try to. I have nothing to do. Opponent is gonna flicker and we're gonna untap, of course, but we don't have anything else to do. Maybe we can bounce back this prism, not the prism, but the creature, and counter the creature. Our opponents, no, this is bad. Now we need to repeal the token, and we're gonna do it in response to this Candy Trail. Opponent's gonna cast a Viscerated Insight, which is fine because I don't care much about that. Opponent still don't have a finisher, but we are capsizing our opponent into oblivion now because we have 6 blue mana and we have 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 15 mana. We can capsize 2 capsize a turn. Now we could capsize. Now I just made a mistake. I believe I should have. Yeah, I wait my opponent to play a land, and I should now have capsized both of my opponent's land. But my opponent just untapped the land, so I needed to it doesn't make any difference because I would capsize the power plant, and when I capsize for the second time the second power plant, in response my opponent would add all the Tron mana that he has. It would not make any difference as you can see here, but I'm making a mistake to target the user's mine that is untapped. My opponent's just gonna tap that. Yeah, for me, it's fine because, you know, I was gonna have a lot of mana, but my opponent doesn't have damage to deal to me now. And he found another flicker, which is annoying. He's gonna do a bunch of damage to me because he has a lot of. No, he just decided to cast Bramble Worm to Bramble Worm to. I don't know why, but I think he has no more cards to deal damage to me. Like casting a lot of cards to deal damage to me, and I should capsize the both of his Tron lands. My opponent's not gonna have in Tron anytime soon, so I can take this 7 now and some damage because I have a campfire on the board. We have a lot of card draw with the Lauren revealed. Yeah, this is my opponent just concedes. I would not concede that early, but my opponent knows what he has in hand. So I think this was a okay concede because my opponent's not gonna have Tron anytime soon. He should have countered my capsize, but I think our opponent doesn't play any counter spells. So let's go to the game 2. Okay, sideboard wise for the game 2 was Campfire out. I don't know if this is correct, and now the Candy Trails out. because I took out the impulse. I took out 7 cards, and I put 4 annuls and the 3 relic of progenitors to deal with the Eviscerators Insight and something on the graveyard, which is fine. I guess that's reasonable. Opponent has Cryogenic, we just counter that. It's so tasty. We're gonna have Tron. Not now though. I do not counter this Candy Trail because I need to take a Prism, Prophetic Prism with this Anno. So I just get the Lambus, but I think that was not that correct because I need to keep my opponent out of black mana. But my opponent has the blue mana, so I think the draw would be nice to counter also. This Scry and draw. We have Tron now. We are pretty fine here. If my opponent tries to play the finisher, we just counter. Also, if my opponent tries to, my opponent has Tron, so this power sink is really bad for us at this moment. We're gonna have 7, 8, 9 mana, but those power sinks are still bad. The false summoning and the exclude are nice because they are stopping the creatures to pressure us. Cryogen is strong, but now we can counter something, and my opponent just stop playing cards. Maybe opponent's flooded. We're gonna have a lot of mana here. We're gonna play this Expedition map and crack the Expedition map, I guess. I think this was wrong. I think we should have played the Tron. No, maybe this is correct. We can counter 2 things here if you so choose. Opponent having 8 mana. Yeah, I can't counter this. This is wrong. No, 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 I'm gonna make a mistake. Yeah, this is wrong. I can't counter this thing. But the opponent is gonna have to tap out. Opponent has 8 mana. I think I just miscounted my opponent's mana again. I think that was the thing here. And the opponent just found with pylons, another color source. So Prophetic Prism now is not a card we want to counter. But anyway, opponent just losing his patience on those relics, trying to draw a card that seems to be assigned for that my opponent doesn't have very good cards in hand. Bumbleworm is just gonna exclude, draw a card. Opponent is going to goes to flicker. We need to counter this also. Make opponent spend 3, like just losing that mana on a mana pool. Now we have a lot of draws, which is fine. We're gonna crack, gonna smooth our deck, thin our deck, sorry. And having a lot of blue mana, which is really strong. Now we just tap the tower and 2 islands. Tower and 2 islands, Fred. Fred from the past. What are you doing, Fred from the past? Yeah, that was really bad. It just tower and 2 islands. I don't know why. I don't know why I do that, but it's okay. I have the Relic of Progenitor, so my opponent's not gonna have this Visceration on the side to. If my opponent tries to play anything that's going to make them cast the Viscerators inside, we just crack our Relic. I think we should crack now because my opponent's gonna lose the Viscerators inside. On my turn also, but I think it was a mistake not cracking on my opponent's EOT. It's fine though. I'm gonna play the Murmuring Mist. Now we start to win the game. Opponents desperately tries to. So I need to crack this Relic now, man. Why not? Now. No, this was a mistake. Opponent now has the black mana to. Now opponent does not have. But it was a mistake by me. We're not gonna lose to this black mage's rod for sure. We're gonna trying to counter this. Opponent's gonna need to. No, I'm gonna capsize what? I'm capsizing the token. Yeah, I'm capsizing the token. This way, the opponent needs to cast another creature to get a creature to ping us. Because if you just bounce the Black Mage's Rod, the token will be on the table. So we need to. Even this opponent just concedes here because he see the capsize and now he knows what is going to be his fate. He's just gonna capsize 2 lands on his turn, 2 lands on my turn, and my opponent's never gonna be having mana again. And this as I said on the deck tag, capsize is just too strong. I think this deck should play 2. If you try this deck, if you wanna try this deck, please run 2 capsizes and 2 mnemonic walls. Maybe not 2 flickers, but 2 capsizes and 2 mnemonic walls. Pretty nice. And maybe take out one repeal and one candy trail. Maybe just like that. But this was the video. I hope you have enjoyed. This is a fun deck to play. I really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, a comment, and until the next one.